Berlin is a city that rebuilt itself on top of memories it never wanted to keep. Streets look modern, buildings look clean, but behind certain walls, history still breathes. Tonight, we're exploring one of the most disturbing locations linked to Germany's darkest century, the old Jewish hospital Berlin. Officially, this place was built to heal. Unofficially, it became surrounded by whispers of suffering, unethical medical practices, forced research, and experiments that many believe were never fully acknowledged or ended. These are the top 10 dark truths about the old Jewish hospital of Berlin. Some are documented, some are disputed, and some exist only as echoes passed down by survivors, staff families, and urban explorers. This is not a ghost story. This is history and what history leaves behind. 10. It was built as a place of refuge, not horror. The Jewish hospital in Berlin was originally founded in the 18th century as a safe medical space for Jewish citizens, at a time when discrimination often blocked access to public hospitals. For decades, it symbolized care, dignity, and community survival. Doctors trained here, families trusted it, lives were saved within its walls, which makes what happened next even more disturbing, because this was never meant to become a place of fear. 9. During the Nazi era, the hospital fell under constant surveillance. When the Nazi regime came to power, Jewish institutions were not immediately destroyed. They were controlled. The hospital remained operational, but under strict oversight. SS officials monitored patients, doctors, records, and admissions. Jewish doctors were forced to work under impossible conditions, often treating patients who would later be deported. The hospital became a waiting room for death, where survival often depended on luck, paperwork, or delay tactics by staff. 8. Medical research replaced medical ethics. This is where the darkest questions begin. While the most infamous Nazi medical experiments occurred in concentration camps, hospitals were not innocent. Across Germany, data from prisoners, forced patients, and marginalized groups was collected, shared, and analyzed. Former staff accounts and post-war testimonies suggest that unconsented procedures, experimental treatments, and data extraction occurred under the label of research. Not all experiments were surgical. Some involved drug testing, others involved infection observation. Some were simply about how long the human body could endure suffering. The full extent remains debated, but silence does not equal innocence. 7. Patients sometimes entered and never officially left. Records from the war years are fragmented. Entire files are missing. There are documented cases of patients admitted for routine treatment whose discharge records do not exist. Families later reported that loved ones vanished after hospitalization, only to reappear on deportation lists, or not at all. Whether deaths were unrecorded, transferred, or deliberately erased remains unclear. But in a system obsessed with documentation, missing data speaks loudly. 6. Doctors were trapped between survival and complicity. Not every doctor here was a villain. Not every doctor was a hero. Many Jewish doctors stayed because leaving meant execution. Some tried to delay deportations by falsifying diagnoses. Others followed orders to avoid immediate death. But history asks an uncomfortable question. At what point does forced survival become participation? This moral gray zone is one of the most disturbing legacies of the hospital. A reminder that evil systems don't need monsters, just fear. 5. Post-war silence buried uncomfortable truths. After World War II, Germany focused on rebuilding, hospitals reopened, cities modernized. The Jewish hospital continued operating. But discussion of wartime medical practices faded quickly. Investigations focused on high-profile camp doctors, not hospital staff. Many files were sealed, lost, or quietly archived. Survivors spoke, but not always loudly enough to compete with national guilt and exhaustion. Silence became a second burial. 4. Staff and visitors report unexplained phenomena. Now we step into the unsettling present. Former nurses, cleaners, and night staff have reported footsteps in sealed corridors, call buttons activating in empty rooms, the sensation of being watched during night shifts, sudden nausea in specific wards, Skeptics blame old wiring and stress. Others believe trauma leaves imprints, especially in places where suffering was constant and unresolved. No official paranormal claims are made, but the stories persist. 3. Urban explorers describe the hospital as emotionally oppressive. Those who have explored older sections of the building describe something unusual: not shadows, not voices, but pressure, a heavy feeling, difficulty breathing, sudden sadness or panic without explanation. Many explorers report leaving early, not out of fear, but discomfort. Psychologists call this environmental memory. Others call it something else. Either way, few leave unaffected. 2. Experiments that never ended may mean inherited trauma. Here's the most chilling interpretation of all. Even if the experiments stopped physically, their effects did not. Families of victims carried trauma forward. Doctors carried guilt. Institutions carried silence. Modern studies show trauma can be biologically inherited, altering stress responses across generations. So when people say the experiments never ended, they may not mean scalpels. They may mean consequences. 1. The building forces us to confront uncomfortable history. The old Jewish hospital is not a haunted ruin. It is something worse. It is a functional place built on unresolved suffering, a reminder that horror doesn't always scream. Sometimes it files paperwork, writes reports, and goes home at night. Its darkest truth is not what happened inside, but how easily it was absorbed into normal life afterward. Places like this challenge us. They don't allow easy villains. They don't offer clean endings. The old Jewish hospital of Berlin stands as proof that history doesn't vanish when buildings are renovated. It waits, in records, in walls, in people. And sometimes it asks to be remembered. If this story made you think, like the video, subscribe for more dark history and comment which truth disturbed you the most.